on, guys, welcome back to the channel. We made it home from Lake Murray. Hopefully you can hear me. It's raining a little bit on this metal roof above me, but we made it home from Lake Murray, stage 3 of the Bass Pro Tour. We finished up 23rd place. Had a great tournament. You know, I absolutely love that lake. It's got to be my favorite lake in the country right now. The quality of fish in there is incredible. But this is the juice. This is the juice video, and we're gonna dive into my recap of stage 3 on Lake Murray. The juice is presented by Fish USA, so all the tackle that I'm about to talk about, rods, reels, line, equipment, is available directly at fishusa.com. You can check the description down below, click the links, and head right over and get all that tackle over on Fish USA. All right, so as most of you guys know, you probably know that I won a tournament on Lake Murray 2 years ago, roughly the same time of year. It was a couple weeks later in April, so I went there, you know, knowing in the back of my head that I could probably catch them the same way, but it's a couple weeks earlier, it was warm, full moon, so I was kind of expecting to catch fish on the bed, on spawning. And that's kind of how I approached my practice. You know, I sampled a little bit of the points with the herring spawn and, you know, herring fish, eating herring on the points, but spent most of my practice looking for spawning fish. And there was a lot of fish shallow, and I really expected to catch some fish doing that throughout the tournament. But every day, you know, throughout the 2 days of practice, I would spend a little bit of time on the points, and I found a few points that had a lot of fish. So I decided to start the tournament going into there. And the first morning I caught them quick, fast, and in a hurry, and was sitting in good shape in the tournament. So I just kind of kept rolling with that and just kind of expanding on that as the tournament went on. So as far as baits, when you're fishing a herring lake, you know, a soft plastic jerkbait is by far the best way to imitate those herring. You know, the bass love to feed up. They love those herring or shad looking, imitating baits, and a soft plastic jerkbait is the best way to do it. So here's a couple of them, what's left of them, should I say, that are absolutely destroyed. So I would have 4, 5, 6 of these rigged up on the boat, just so when they do get tore up like this, I can just pick up another rod, throw it out there, keep fishing, and then during the intermissions or during the period breaks, I can stop and re-rig up a few more of these, and I would pre-rig a few. So this is the same rig that I used in 2021 to win. You know, we alternated a couple new baits here. This is actually the Yamamoto D-Shad in the green gizzard color. So what I learned about this here, this bait is a lot heavier than your standard soft plastic jerk baits, so I could throw this a lot further and into the wind a lot better than some other baits, and I didn't have to add as much weight, and it stayed below the surface a little bit better. The other cool thing is the tail on the D-Shad is not forked at all, so when I would pull this bait, that tail would kick and look very natural in the water and look just like a herring. So really impressed with the Yamamoto D-Shad. You know, I've thrown it a little bit before, but this is the first time that I really got to spend a lot of time throwing it, multiple days in a row, and really see the intricacies of the bait. But back to the rigging, you know, like I said, I rigged this bait pretty unique. So we're just gonna get rid of him, he's destroyed. So I start with a Trocar TK180 drop shot hook. So this is a straight shank drop shot hook, the TK180 in a 5/0 size. Take a little bit of lead wire and wrap it around there just for that extra weight. Helps keep the bait down and allows you to work it faster. Of course, I super glue it on there just so the bait stays on there a little longer. And then I was adding a treble hook on the back. So this is the Trocar treble hook, the number 4 size. And that just adds a little bit extra weight, and a stinger hook on the back. If those fish just swipe at the back end of the bait and don't really eat it all the way, you snag them here with the treble hook. So it's an excellent way to make sure you land all those fish that swipe at your bait and don't necessarily eat it fully every single time. Throwing it on 15-pound Seaguar Invisex fluorocarbon. And then my favorite Hex 7.5 medium heavy. Excellent rod right there. It's one of my favorite all-around good moving bait rods right there. But that is, you know, the exact same equipment, rod, reel, line, hook, all that kind of stuff that I used in 2021. I was also throwing this bait here. You know, this is just a chrome colored soft plastic jerkbait, especially in the mornings or the low light conditions. I really like that chrome. It showed up better in the water and was able to catch a lot of fish doing that first thing in the morning. Other than that, I did catch a few fish on this guy right here. This is just, you know, your little Kitech swim bait, 3.3 inch, and on just a little ball head jig head. But this was more for when the fish were actively schooling. So when I would see them blowing up out on a point, I like to hit them with this because one, I could cast it a little more accurately with a spinning rod, cast it a little bit further than the D-shad, but this would hit right on where the, you know, I could put this right where they're schooling and they're looking for one herring. You know, they're up there eating one herring. And whenever they see this swim bait just kind of cruising away, I would burn it right along the surface. They would come up and absolutely swallow this. So, like I said, this was for whenever I'd see 1, 2, maybe 10 fish up schooling, but I would be targeting that one fish or maybe even the biggest fish that I seen schooling with the swim bait. And I did weigh in a few fish throughout the week on the little swim bait. Lastly, the only other thing I really weighed some fish on would just be an old-fashioned shaky head. So this is just a straight up ball head, shaky head right here. Pretty simple. And I was just taking a Yamamoto Pro Cinco. This is one of my favorite new shaky head worms. It's not really a new worm to the market, but it's new to me that I've started using this year, and I really like it. You know, it's thinner than a Cinco, and it comes down to a pointed tail, and it just dances around, and it just looks excellent on a shaky head. So I was throwing that around, you know, if I was fishing in between some points and there were some docks, or even actually out on the points. You know, some of these fish, whenever they weren't actively feeding, you could drag around the shaky head and catch a few. And basically that pattern right there is how Anthony Gagliardi ended up winning the tournament, just with a drop shot instead of a shaky head. So I was sort of on a little deal there that, you know, was a pretty good deal, but it just didn't work out for me. Like I said, I finished up 23rd place, but overall great tournament, can't complain at all. Appreciate you guys watching this video. You know, leaving those likes, comments down below. Like I said before, hit that links in the description down below for all of this tackle directly on Fish USA. They'll get it to you real fast, and you'll be able to get it out and get it on the water. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.